Hello everybody, I'm Casas from the New Door Film Group, and I'm here with Jesse Buendia. How you doing today?
Hi Casas, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so just to start things off, what's your job title?
So I'm the Community Benefits and Social Responsibility Manager.
What does SFPUC mean?
So the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission provides water, power, and sewer services, which is very exciting. But we do it in a way that is both environmentally and community focused.
Tell me about yourself.
So I am 35. I originally grew up in Iowa, and my family is from Mexico, and I moved to California in 2005, which was 17 years ago. And I've been here ever since, and have just fallen in love with the Bay Area. I'm so happy to work for the city and county of San Francisco.
Okay, wow, I've been there before. What do you do in your positions?
I manage a team who is focused on working with our contracting community. So all of the people that we partner with, engineering firms, architecture firms, construction firms, to provide community benefits to the communities that are impacted by our operations and our services.
Okay. How does your job support the mission goals?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So as I mentioned before, part of what makes the PUC unique is that we are focused on delivering water, power, sewer services, but in a manner that takes into consideration environmental and community interests. So part of my work is helping deliver the piece around community interests and ensuring that we have stakeholder engagement processes that involve people from the community telling us how we're delivering our services, but how we can partner with them to make the communities better, and then helping direct resources in that direction.
Okay, sure. What inspired you to pick this career?
So I was always really interested in community development. My background is in public policy, and I went to Princeton University and studied specifically environmental policy because I was really interested in how the environmental movement could be creating more opportunities for low-income communities and communities of color. So when I got this opportunity to work here at the Public Utilities Commission, which is an environmental organization, but to work from a community and environmental justice perspective, I thought this is the greatest opportunity ever.
So what's your favorite part about working at SFPUC?
I love who I work with. Specifically, we brought in a ton of really brilliant advocates and organizers and people who you wouldn't traditionally find within a utility field that you see a lot of engineers or you might see a lot of architects. But these are folks who are passionate about helping their community, and so they're the people that I get to work with every day, and they all have really strong roots within the Bay Area.
Okay, that's nice. What kind of requirements does it take to get a career like this, and what did you major in through school to get here?
Yeah, thanks. I was a political science and women and gender studies double major in undergrad, and then I went to get my master's degree in public policy, again with a focus on international studies, but looking at environmental policy specifically.
What's the most lit part of your job?
Oh yeah, I love that question. I think it's probably being here over the summer when there's like 1,400 young people between the ages of 16 and 24 coming in and out of this agency, and just being able to just have that opportunity to connect with young people who are so passionate and innovative and exciting. It makes the work creative.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
I think it's that we're the first public utilities in the country to have a community benefits and environmental justice policy. So what inspires me is the idea of being able to replicate the good work that we're doing here to other utilities across the country. Right now we work very closely with the city of Seattle, the city of Los Angeles, and we're trying to also partner with all the major cities across the country so that they could actually take the policies that we've created and implement them within their own agencies.
Okay, so you're going to be like the golden standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that.
Okay. I see where you guys are going. How has your career affected your life?
Let me see. I always wanted to work in the public sector,
Okay.
Or the nonprofit sector. So that was really important.
Okay.
And so I think that finding this job with the City and County of San Francisco, and this is important for people to know, is that you could actually work in the public interest work and also be able to have a family, have a career, be able to live even in an expensive city. That the wages in the public sector are very, very, very good in the city of San Francisco. And so I think that that's been great, that I've been able to pursue sort of a mission-driven job, but also do it in a way that isn't sacrificing my own personal goals.
Okay. So what does sustainability mean to you?
Well, personally, sustainability is about my own being able to live a life that is both healthy within the context of my own family, my community, but also the environment. And I think for an organization, it's similar in many ways to a person, in that the organization needs to be healthy, but it also needs to be making its own decisions, being able to think of other people and of the environment itself. So sometimes, what might seem like the best for an organization is to do things in the cheapest way possible. But that might be at a trade-off for being able to work well with community or being able to help support the environment. And so for me, it's always being able to make a decision thinking of those three things in mind. Like, are we making the best decision that helps our bottom line, but also helps the community and also helps the environment?
I see. That's smart three things to keep in mind. So what does social responsibility mean to you?
So social responsibility is a term that we've taken from the private sector and are actually applying to the work that we're doing here. We, in many ways, even though we're a public sector agency, we run like 3 different businesses in that we provide 3 different kinds of services. Like your cell phone plan might, but for us, we provide water to our customers, we provide sewer services to our customers, and we provide energy to our customers. And so for the corporate social responsibility world, it is really important that as you're developing not just your mission, but also your business model, that you're thinking about how holistically, using the term that you said earlier, we can be sustainable and be thinking about, again, our bottom line, as well as how we're impacting the community or the people who are receiving these services and are impacted by the services. And then how we're doing it in innovative ways that help the environment. Because often, like cell phone plans, we extract a lot from the environment and we don't give back. And so for us, it's thinking about how do we take this amazing resource, especially our water, that is coming from this pristine area in Yosemite, and how do we make the best use of it so it's not wasted, and also return it back to the bay and the oceans in a way that's clean, that's healthy, that's good for people's health and the environment.
Okay, I'll throw a question in there. Tips. I don't know if we're out of drought yet in California or not. Say we get into another drought. What are things you feel we can do, or that everyone can do in their household to kind of get through the drought?
Yeah, so we've actually had a lot of really exciting young people do projects for us, being able to think of all the best ways that people can actually reduce their water use. And so living in the city is your first great achievement, because a lot of water use at the residential level is because people are gardening, like really big lawns or like golf courses or anything. So you just being a product of the city is already great. And so the things that you can do at home is you can take shorter showers. You can make sure to turn off the faucet when you're actually brushing your teeth. You could be able to, the consumption use, like when you go to, I think one of the things that outside of residential use that people could do is think about the companies that they work with, or that they go to and buy services from, and actually be an advocate and ask them what is their water use policy. Like, do you have a plan to recycle your water? Do you have a plan to like reduce the amount of water that you're using? And I think that's always going to make a business better to know that their customers care enough to ask these questions.
Okay, so what advice would you give to a youth that is interested in a career like yours?
Yeah, I would say The career that I chose especially is something that if you're passionate about your community, if you're like the person in high school or college who likes to organize other people to work on social justice issues, and you're that person that is a sort of a natural connector, or you always want to like tackle these big issues, you know, and you're passionate about that. You wake up every day because you're passionate about something. I think this is a perfect career for you. And if I do my job right, there'll be a lot of jobs like mine across the country that hopefully your generation will be able to take advantage of.
Wow. So, what kind of opportunities are there now for youth that are interested in a career like this? What are some things outside of maybe school that they can do?
Yeah, so our summer internships, which is a great opportunity. So you can work within an organization like yours and receive a project learning grant from us to be able to learn about water, power, and sewer. But then you could actually apply to some of our formal internship programs that we have for high school students, like Project Pull or like City Works, where you get placed here and work 20 hours a week at the agency and have a direct relationship with a supervisor. And in addition to that, you can apply for some of our more competitive internships that are in the engineering field if you're passionate about that and want to pursue that. And then lastly, I would say that there's a lot of opportunities if you really want to actually develop like an academic interest in the area. We work with a lot of our local partners, whether it's community colleges or the state and UC systems, to be able to attract talent so when you come back you can actually compete for some of our jobs. There will be many jobs in the sector in the next 5 years, and if you have an excitement or proclivity to it, you know, we could always talk about potential pathways to pursue these great jobs.
Wow, that's reassuring for sure. All right, so I'm going to ask you some fun personal questions now. This is one of my favorite parts of the interview.
Great.
So, what are like some side interests outside of work that you have?
Yeah, oh, I love that question. So I have a life coaching business that I'm very excited about starting. I love to dance, but only daytime dancing because I like to sleep too. And I love to just hang out with friends. And so I don't cook, so I like to go over to friends' house who do cook. And help them eat their delicious food. I spend a lot of time also taking care of my family and my grandma, so that's aspects of what takes up my life when I'm not here.
Okay, all right. So let's say that you didn't end up in this career that you have now. What's another career that you could see yourself in?
Yeah, oh, that's a great question. Well, I started my career working for an elected official and also working in Sacramento on public policy. So I think if I wasn't doing this body of work, I would probably be doing a lot of either advocating or lobby work at the state capitol.
Okay, so you're all about the community.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good to hear. So what's the most interesting thing you think that we wouldn't know just from meeting you?
Well, I think for when I was growing up, it was unique to have a immigrant Latina woman who works or who grew up with a single mother and who's queer and who grew up low income be able to have graduated from an elite university like Princeton. And so I think that that's something maybe you wouldn't know about me if you just saw me. But that I've had all this great experience and access to educational opportunities that I've always taken advantage of.
Defying the odds, I can definitely relate with that. If you were stuck on one TV show, not many, so definitely think about this one, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, it's a great question, and I haven't figured out what it is. I think it would be something like in like either ancient world Greece or like Europe, So the one thing I can think of right now is the TV show Reign, where it's about the Mary Queen of Scots. Because she was sort of a rebel who was like never in her home country, you know, but had to like defy all these odds. And so I would say probably Reign.
Okay.
I have a lot of TV shows I wouldn't want to be in.
Oh, I mean, you can touch on those.
I would not want to be in House of Cards. But I think we all are a little bit in House of Cards right now.
Let's go to your heart.
Yeah.
What charity is closest to your heart?
Probably two. So the organization that I first started working with when I moved out here, which was a racial equity advocacy think tank called the Green Lining Institute, I will forever support them. I served as a board member. I organize their alumni group. I attend all of their events. It's definitely like my home away from home. So for them, I would definitely continue. I love them. And I think from a service organization, I love Glide. It's a church that's in San Francisco, but they provide a lot of services specifically to sort of transient communities, but also any sort of community that's in need. And they just have the most wonderful services. So I would say of those two, those are the two I would continue to support forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
No problem.
You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you. I try. Hello, I'm Kasas Abdulaziz with the New North Film Group, and I'm here with Amy Sinclair. How are you doing today, Amy?
I'm doing great, Kassis. Nice to see you.
What is your job title?
So here at the SFPUC, I wear many hats throughout the day. As a public relations officer, I'm here to educate the public about what we do as an agency, and that, of course, includes our high-quality tap water in San Francisco and throughout the Bay Area. We treat stormwater and wastewater, and we also provide hydroelectric power for San Francisco. So throughout the day, I'm creating posts on social media, I'm writing copy for newsletters, sometimes I'm giving a presentation, so my days really vary.
Okay. So what does the SFPUC do?
Well, as an agency, the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, one of our number one jobs here in San Francisco is to provide vital city services. Those can include our great high-quality tap water, which we drink every day in the city. We also provide water to 2.7 million people throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. We also treat wastewater and stormwater in San Francisco, so that can include sewage, as well as on stormy days, treating that runoff off the streets. And then for about the last 100 years, the city has been producing clean, greenhouse gas-free hydroelectric power through the Hetch Hetchy system. And that power is actually used for a lot of vital city services like lighting up our streetlights, Muni, San Francisco Airport, and many other city services. And so as an agency, these are really vital services that people in San Francisco use every day.
Okay. Well, you gave a rundown of what you do here. Well, tell me about yourself.
I have been a public relations officer with the city for just over 17 years, but my job changes all the time. That's what I really love about my career with the city and county. Years ago, I used to do a lot of on-camera media, talking with reporters about consumer protection in San Francisco, and just recently today, these days, I'm talking about clean energy for San Francisco through our Clean Power SF program. I really enjoy my job. It's been a great career. I really recommend young people considering jobs in city government. I've really enjoyed it. I learn on a constant basis. I feel challenged most days because there's new projects that need to start up. They need people, and sometimes you're just starting from scratch, learning about a program and getting it out and educating the public about it. So there's really a lot of great opportunities, and I've enjoyed my career here.
Okay, sounds like you have a really diverse skill set. Tell me more about you touched on it, but tell me more about your position.
So my position here at the SFPUC as a public relations officer is primarily educating the public about our programs, helping them understand what these programs mean, helping them understand if we're going to be increasing our rates on water and sewer, why we're doing it, why it's so important that we upgrade our facilities or upgrade our pipelines. Also helping the public understand when we're providing a new service and how important that is because it's bringing clean energy to San Francisco. And so really on a daily basis, I am being myself. I'm a very extroverted, people-oriented person. I love talking with people. I love meeting new people. And so in this role as a public relations officer, I'm able to, on a daily basis, engage with people. And it's really what I love doing. And again, that can be sometimes through social media. That can be through a presentation that I give to a community organization, participating in a film that educates youth in San Francisco about careers with the city. So my job really varies on a daily basis, and that's really what I love about it. I'm never bored.
So how does your job support the mission and goals of the SFPUC?
On a daily basis, I feel like my job as a public relations officer supports the goals and mission of the SFPUC, and there's many ways we do it. On a daily basis, we are accountable to the public. We're a public agency, and so we see the public as the people that we need to engage with on a daily basis. And that could be answering questions if a member of the public calls wondering what's going on with their water. That can include making sure that there's resources out there for people in San Francisco so that they know where to go to ask a question about a service. And just making sure that we're out talking with people face to face. A lot of events throughout the year are staffed by public relation officers like myself, and so we talk face to face with the public, answering questions, promoting our programs, educating the public about our sustainability. And really, we are an agency of the City and County of San Francisco that has a primary goal of providing great service through sustainable programs that really help the public provide vital services like water, wastewater, and power. And so a public relations officer really does these on a daily basis. It's being available and helping the public understand what we do. It's really what we do every day.
What inspired you to pick this career?
As far as being inspired to pick this particular career, I learned early on back in high school that I'm a people person. I like engaging with people, and I wanted to find a career that I'm going to enjoy every day. I had learned a little bit about careers in public relations just by reading, going online. And so when I started looking at ideal careers, public relations, communications, marketing just felt natural to me because I feel like I can use my skills. And really, it's so important to choose a career that you enjoy. You're going to be doing it every day for many, many years of your life. And so you want to do something you're going to be enjoying. I looked at the public relations, communications, marketing sector as something that would give me opportunities to learn different projects, be on a variety of projects, while staying kind of in the same career track. The work I've been able to do ranges from consumer protection to sustainability to clean energy to tap water. And so I've really been able to get a lot of unique experiences through this career move. So I learned early on that follow what you like to do.
So that's advice that you give to the youth.
Absolutely. Look at what you enjoy doing in your spare time. Do you like to get out and talk with people and socialize? Do you like using social media? You can find a job that will pay you great money to utilize things that you like to do even in your spare time.
So what's your favorite part about working here at the SFPUC?
I would say my favorite part of working at the SFPUC would be learning something new every day. And there are oftentimes projects that need work immediately. So oftentimes I don't get a lot of background information when a project is assigned to me. So a good example was when I started working in power. I really didn't know a whole lot about renewable energy. So I needed to learn. So I went out, looked on the internet, did a lot of reading, did that research so that I could then better understand the project that I was assigned to. I also ask a lot of questions. If you're in a meeting, or even if you're in school, and somebody says, the PCL for the CPU, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. Raise your hand. Ask a question. Okay, what is the PCL, and what do I need to know about that? So ask questions. Challenge yourself to learn what these are, how these things are important, and how you can become an expert in your career by providing these services to your agency.
What kind of requirements does it take to get a career like this? And what did you major to get here?
So to get a career in communications, marketing, public relations, most positions require a college degree, but not all. Mm-hmm. So there are entry-level positions out there that are really important to understand. They are going to require high school. That's really important. Mm-hmm. But there are positions out there that you can even do part-time while you're going to school. There's a lot of college degrees, whether it's an AA, a BA, in the fields of communications, marketing, business, public relations. So it's ideal to pursue an actual degree in that if you can. But we have a few Russian majors, we have a few art majors that work in communications, so don't feel limited. If you have a degree in electrical engineering and you decide you really want to be working in the PR field, don't let that limit you.
Okay.
But get out and get that education. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
The city has programs that will help you while you're going to college. They have part-time programs that you could consider that will help you while you're actually in college. So, it doesn't make it impossible to work while you're going to school.
So I'm a youth, and I hear all the good benefits to this program. See, I come up to you on the street and I hear about your career, and I ask you, well, what's the most lit part of your job?
One of the number one things I would say that makes me excited every day, or lit, about my career here at the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission is I get to push myself every day. That means getting assigned to projects that are challenging, that are new. And a good example of a project is something called Clean Power SF, which is a community choice power program here in San Francisco. Basically, that means that the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission is going out on the market, buying and investing in renewable energy and giving some competition to PG&E in the form of renewable energy that you can get here in San Francisco. It's amazing. I actually asked to work on this project. I was working in water. I've always been interested in renewable energy. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I wanted to challenge myself. And so there's opportunities in any job to challenge yourself. Ask to be put on a new project. When time allows and when they need somebody, they'll think of you. Send an email to your director and say, hey, I'm curious about renewable energy, and if a position ever opens up, think of me, because I really want to do this.
It's lit. Now, what is the most rewarding part of your job?
I would say one of the most rewarding aspects of my job here at the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission is working with really cool people every day. A good example of that, we have people here that have been working for 20 years with this agency or with this city, and we have brand new people that are just here for the summer as interns, just getting their foot in the door, learning about the programs and what we do. So I work with a range of people from a range of backgrounds. It's a diverse group of people. We have people from all over the world that speak various languages, from various cultures, and I get to meet these people on a daily basis and work with them, get to know them, supervise them, give them assignments, give them a challenge. I have a new intern this summer who is getting to learn all about renewable energy, and I love watching her on a daily basis understand these new technologies, understand what we're doing here in San Francisco. And so it's rewarding to work in such a diverse environment with such a great group of people. And I don't take that for granted. It's really, to me, one of the best parts of my career with the city and county.
What accomplishment that you've made in this career are you most proud of?
Accomplishments are oftentimes preceded by mistakes. And you make mistakes along the way in your career. Sometimes you find a typo on a piece of paper that's an educational piece that goes out to a large group of the public. And it does happen. Mm-hmm. And so learning from my mistakes over the years, learning that, okay, instead of sending out a mailer that had a typo in it, now going forward, I'm going to have 2 or 3 people proofread that before it goes out. So those have really been my accomplishments. Learning from my mistakes. Making mistakes. You got to sometimes screw up. Mm-hmm. And, open your mouth in a meeting when you probably shouldn't have and sound like maybe somebody who doesn't know what she's talking about. But by asking that question, I now know what a PCL is. You hear a lot of acronyms floating around in government. Asking those questions, raising your hand, or learning from those mistakes have really been the biggest accomplishments. And just not being afraid to take on a new project, understanding that I'm going to make mistakes but fail forward. So it doesn't go, the piece of material went out with a typo on it. Make sure the next one is perfect because you had 3 people proofread it.
I like that. I really do. How has this career affected your life?
My career with the city and county and the SFPUC has had a great impact on my life. It's really given me an opportunity to learn a lot of new skills on the job. And I'm getting older. I'm in my late 40s, but I'm still learning every day. Jobs with the city give you a lot of opportunities to educate yourself through classes, conferences, getting additional degrees. And so I've really felt that there's been a lot of benefits to taking advantage of those. A good example is I had an opportunity earlier this year, I had an opportunity to go to a conference called South by Southwest. It was really exciting. It was a chance for me to really focus on recent branding and different techniques and ways, best practices for branding a program. And I got a chance to meet a bunch of people from around the world. And it really helped me feel like what I'm doing here at the SFPUC on a daily basis is making a difference. I was able to take some of those new skills that I learned. And again, I'm in my late 40s. I want to keep learning. I don't want to stop learning. I want to make sure that I'm getting new skills. Maybe it's a new social media platform that is becoming popular with young people. I want to make sure I know what that is, how it works, how we might be able to use it here at our agency to reach out to youth in San Francisco. And so getting out and educating yourself with classes and conferences and learning new things has really affected my life in a lot of great ways. I leave work every day feeling like I've done something each day. Maybe it's just meeting some deadlines. Maybe it's just getting through all my emails. And sometimes that is my accomplishment for the day. But I feel good leaving work every day knowing that I'm contributing and I'm making a difference. And that feels good. I want a career that benefits my life. City careers also give you a fair amount of time off. There's a lot of flexibility, and so I really like that because it lets me have a balanced life. I like to spend time with my family. I like to travel. I have hobbies that I like to do here in the Bay Area, getting out and hiking, going to music festivals, and so my career with the city gives me that flexibility, and I really enjoy that. I take my time off, and I enjoy my vacation.
What does sustainability mean to you?
Sustainability really means to me quality programs that benefit people, the environment, and that are cost effective, oftentimes called a triple bottom line. So programs, a good example would be Clean Power SF here in San Francisco, our new community choice aggregation program for power. It's investing in renewable energy, which is helping to sustain the environment. It's helping to get more solar and wind energy and other renewable sources of energy onto the grid, the power grid, which is helping in many, many different ways. That's helping invest in more renewable energy in California, but also really worldwide. It's having an impact. So sustainability means to me that as an agency, we as the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission are looking at that triple bottom line, how it affects people, how it affects the environment, and how we're saving money or keeping projects on budget. Triple bottom line for me is really important on projects, and sustainability is really what we have to do going forward. Especially here in San Francisco, we are considered a leading city worldwide. People look at us to come up with new technologies, to do things differently, to break out of the box, shift, make a shift, do things that maybe aren't popular right away, but that have long-term sustainable benefits. And so sustainability is a big part of the mission that we have here at the SFPUC, and I really feel like as an agency, we live and breathe that on a daily basis.
What does social responsibility mean to you?
So social responsibility is also part of the triple bottom line that I talk about with the San Francisco Public Utilities that we take seriously. Again, people, social responsibility, sustainability and the environment, and saving money, making sure our projects are cost effective. Social responsibility is something that we take very seriously. A good example of it would be right here in San Francisco, our water system and the great high quality tap water that we provide to San Francisco on a daily basis. We have programs within our water division that look at social responsibility throughout San Francisco. We have projects associated with our water system, like educating people about storing water for an earthquake, making sure that our materials are translated into several different languages so that people that don't speak English as a first language can better understand information that will help them. If we have problems with our water, if we have a water main break, being able to have staff that can talk in various languages to neighbors that are affected by those water main breaks, really important. So social responsibility is taken really seriously here at the SFPUC. We have a community benefits program within our external affairs division that has grant programs that takes a close look at programs that help the environment in various areas of the city. And we really take it seriously. These are important programs.
Challenge you a little bit. What are some ways that we can help save water and prevent another drought coming into California?
As most people know, we are still recovering from a very long drought here in California. It was severe. We've had a lot of rain in the last year. It's been great to get our reservoirs filling up, but we need to continue on a daily basis to conserve water. So there's a lot of different things we can do. You can look at if you live in an apartment that has a leaky toilet, there's services here in San Francisco that can address that, because that's going to cause a lot of water to leak over time. We in California, not only just in San Francisco, but in California and worldwide, we have to look at water as a very, very precious resource. If we have another 5 years of drought, we're going to be in trouble. And so people really worked and moved together to address the drought the last 5 years. They conserved water. They did a lot of great things, and we really appreciate it. But having that mindset long term is really important. Even in a year where we're getting plenty of rain. We had a lot of rain last year. And our reservoirs are filling up. But try to maintain that mindset of what can I do to help the environment, and what can I do to just save water on a daily basis. Little actions that you can take on a daily basis can really add up over time, and especially over a lifetime.
All right. What advice would you give a youth that would want to get in the same position you are now and get into a career like this?
The advice I would give a young person who might be interested in a career at the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, and specifically in public relations or communications, is get out and volunteer, or get out and look at some internship programs. Getting some on-the-job experience, even if you're not being paid for it, is a great way to learn and see if you like that work. It might sound interesting, but until you actually get into a desk and start working on a daily basis and working on projects, you won't really know. So volunteer with some local organizations in your neighborhood. See if you can help with a newsletter. See if you can help with some content for their social media. Or see if you can help translate some of their materials so that more people in the neighborhood can read and understand them. There's so many great internship programs and entry-level positions with the city. Look at what they are, look at what their basic requirements are, and work towards them. Take small steps. Start building up your resume. Meet people. Find a mentor. Find somebody who's doing what you want to do. Don't be afraid to call that person up and say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? And pick your brain about what it's going to take for me to get into a position like that. Those are really the type of things that youth want to do. Find jobs, even if it's just working at a local cafe, and maybe help out with some of their marketing materials. Join LinkedIn and list all the different things that you do, even if you're working at a cafe, even if you're just working 5 hours a week and helping with a volunteer program in your neighborhood. Put those skills online on LinkedIn so that in the future, when positions open, you can say, hey, I've done that and I know how to do it, and I would love to do that for your agency.
So I know you covered a lot of the opportunities, but what are maybe some more opportunities that there are for youth that are interested in this career? Now, LinkedIn, of course.
A really great opportunity, something that many youth are probably already doing, is using social media. Social media is a big part of what we do in communications. It's how young people communicate. Most people are on their phones at some point during the day. And so look at ways that through social media you can connect with people that are in a career track that you might have an interest in. Maybe it's a family member who works in wastewater, who might know somebody that works in communications for the SFPUC or another agency. Network, make those connections. Another really important thing with social media, that's part of a daily job for somebody in the public relations or communications field. We utilize that to educate the public, and so make sure you know how to use those social media platforms really well. Maybe you don't really use Twitter a lot, but you prefer Snapchat. Or maybe you don't really use LinkedIn because it's a little older, maybe a little bit more career-oriented. Learn it. Start promoting yourself on there. Promote some of the cool projects that maybe you did with a neighborhood organization as a volunteer. Get yourself out there and promote yourself. Don't just share pictures of your cat. Don't just share pictures of what you did last weekend. Show the really cool things that you're doing. And maybe that's volunteering at your church. Maybe that's volunteering to work on a film project that you heard about and that you want to help out with. But look at social media as a really great image of who you are. And don't be afraid to reach out, find new people, connect with them, and show them that you've got some really cool skills that might benefit your career in the future.
So we're going to get to a more fun part of the interview. These are the fun and more personal questions. What kind of side interests do you have outside of this work?
So I have a lot of side interests outside of my daily job. One of the number one things I love to do is travel the world. It's my passion. I've been traveling since I was fairly young. I've always just saved money as I can, working extra jobs when I was a kid. And now I save up time each year, vacation time, and I try to take a couple of big trips overseas every year. I like to learn about new cultures. I like to hike and see the world. And so I have now traveled to almost 60 countries in the world.
Oh.
And I love it because now I have a better understanding of all the different cultures in those countries that I've traveled to. You don't have to have a lot of money to travel. I sometimes crash on the couch of a friend of a friend of a friend in a country, or I'll find an inexpensive Airbnb where I'll get to know a family that I'm staying with. I collect airline miles, and so I don't always have to pay for my airlines. Or I'll find great deals on airlines that are very basic, but that get you over to Europe for maybe $300 round trip. And I spend a couple weeks there getting to know some new countries and new people. There's also great opportunities to volunteer when you're overseas and learn more about programs and projects and people in those countries. But that is my number one favorite hobby, is to get out and see the world. It's an amazing world out there. Get out and see it, and never let money limit you. You can always find a way to pay for travel, and it will benefit your life 1,000 times more than the money that you spent, because you're connecting with a new culture, better understanding a culture, understanding people, and eating some great food and having fun. So get out and see the world. It's an amazing place.
Sounds really fun. If you weren't here today in the career right now, say, and you weren't doing this interview with me, you were somewhere else, what's another career that you could see yourself in?
Another career I could see myself in would be probably working in travel. Leading and guiding people on trips, and I've done a little bit of that, where I've brought a group of people overseas to learn about a new country. So I could see myself working in travel, being a tour guide, helping people learn and have fun, try new things in a new country, maybe try new foods, learn a new language. But I would definitely see myself working in a travel-oriented field if I wasn't here at the SFPUC. Probably doing similar, being a public relations officer, but in the travel industry and helping people, get the best out of a new country.
If you had to be stuck in one TV show, what would it be?
So if I had to be stuck in a TV show, I don't know. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV, so I would actually lean towards a movie. There are so many amazing documentaries out there. If I had to be stuck in a documentary that would be shown on TV or on YouTube, I would have to say it's a recent film that I saw called From the Ashes, and it's all about renewable energy and the difficult and bad benefits of using coal as our energy source in the United States. Documentaries can be amazing because not only are you entertained by great visuals, by interesting people that are interviewed, but you oftentimes learn something. And oftentimes at the end of a documentary, there's a great call to action. And so watching this documentary recently really helped me understand that coal as a source of power in the United States just isn't working anymore. It causes asthma in inner city children. It pollutes our air. It pollutes the environment in horrible ways. And it's just not the path forward that we need to be looking at. We really need to be looking at renewable energy. It's less polluting. These days it's actually becoming less expensive, and it doesn't have those really negative health effects that we see with coal and other polluting non-renewable energy sources. And so I would be stuck in that documentary figuring out ways to expand our investment in renewable energy. I'd love to be interviewing people in that documentary, and I really encourage you, turn off the TV, check out some cool documentaries. There's some amazing topics that have been covered by creative people, small film groups that have gone out to ask a question or to create a challenge in the world. And oftentimes at the end of those films, there's a really cool call to action that you can learn more about and add to your life. I saw a great one recently about the clothing industry and how polluting it is. And their call to action was to look at wearing more recycled clothes. Don't buy a lot of new clothes. Go out and wear recycled clothes that are not driving this high impact, these environmental problems caused by the clothing industry. So get out and see some documentaries.
Okay, will do. What charity is closest to your heart?
So what's really cool about the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission and the City and County of San Francisco is that every year we do something called the Combined Charities Program. And each fall we have an opportunity to donate a percentage of our paycheck to a variety of charities. These can be around the Bay Area, these can actually be worldwide. And we have a huge catalog of charities that we can contribute to. And it's really cool every year when I get that catalog. I like to sit down and look at it and say, okay, where do I want my money to go to this year. One of the charities that I have been donating to recently has been a local charity that helps animals in need, that helps address overpopulation of dogs and cats in areas where they're just not well taken care of. And this can be in the Bay Area, but this can also be worldwide. A charity that is really close to my heart helps these animals in cities around the world to be spayed and neutered so that they don't continue to overpopulate. It addresses the health of animals that sometimes are hit by cars in big cities around the world and don't get any medical care, and so they're suffering. And so I like to donate a percentage of my paycheck to various charities that help animals worldwide, so that their populations don't continue to increase and they don't live bad lives. These charities also help getting them adopted with families where they're loved and taken care of. And any charity that helps with animals is something that I really like to donate to.
I noticed you brought something there.
I did. This is something called What Are the Most Common Life Mistakes Young People Make? And you can actually find this online. I found it on LinkedIn. It's out there, it's interesting, you can probably Google search for it, but it's a really nice, just a little graphic that says, hey, you know what? Make mistakes. Try a lot of different careers. Ask questions. Be willing to fail. Don't be afraid. These things are important to think about. You don't have to be perfect in your career. You can start something, hate it, and move on to the next thing. But keep moving forward. Make those mistakes and always learn from them. And, take good care of yourself. Working on a daily basis, 5 days a week throughout the year can be tough. So make sure you find a lot of time to take good care of yourself. Get rest. Have some downtime. Take a trip. I really think this is important because you're the only coach of your future. So, get out and find a mentor who's going to help you so that you can actually coach yourself through a new job or a new career or a class. Don't be afraid to ask for help, to make mistakes, and, listen. It's really important.
It was nice to meet you, Amy Sinclair.
It was great to meet you, Casas.
Hello, I'm Casas Abdulaziz. I'm here with the New Door Ventures Film Group, and I'm speaking to Tracy Zhu from the SFPUC. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me with the New Door Ventures crew.
Thank you. So, what is your job title here?
My job title here at the SFPUC is Stakeholder and Advisory Body Analyst.
Okay. What do you do in your position at the SFPUC?
In my position on the Community Benefits team, I'm under the External Affairs Division. And generally, as in the External Affairs, we work with our external stakeholders and partners to ensure that the PUC is actually serving the people who we are meant to serve. Mm-hmm. And that includes the million people in San Francisco who get sewer services from the SFPUC, and includes the 7 counties in our water service territory in which our water infrastructure crosses from Yosemite, our Hetch Hetchy Dam in Yosemite, all the way down to San Francisco.
How does your job support the mission here?
My job here at the PUC supports the mission of the SFPUC, which is to provide high quality, affordable, reliable water, power, and sewer services for the city of San Francisco. The main function of my role in external affairs is to ensure that we're incorporating the voices of residents, of our stakeholders, of our customers, of anybody who gets impacted by our infrastructure, that their voices are included in the decision-making process in building the infrastructure and providing the operations for the city of San Francisco.
So tell me about yourself.
I would love to tell you about myself. I grew up here in San Francisco and am the daughter of immigrant parents from China. I'm one of 7 siblings, so there's 6 others besides myself. And growing up, we learned how to live with a lot of scarcity. Not a lot of money, not a lot of space. At one point, 5 of us shared a room, and so that really inspired my environmental career in thinking about how us as humans really impact the earth, because we, on an individual level, didn't have a lot, and it really made us really conscious about the resources that we did have around us and how to be resourceful in ensuring that we're asking for the resources that we need, as well as being conscious of how we impacted the environment around us.
What is your favorite part about working at the SFPUC?
My favorite part about working for this agency is that it has a really, really long history. Over 100 years ago, this agency, the SFPUC, got water rights to resources that are located in Yosemite National Park. This is a huge responsibility for us to protect and preserve, because water is life. It is what basically allows for development to happen in San Francisco. For all these people to thrive, to have jobs, to have places to live, we need water. And this urban area wouldn't be able to grow and survive without this water. And so with this great power of managing our water rights in Yosemite comes great responsibility. So even though I grew up with very few resources, I am really blessed to be able to grow up in a very rich city that has a lot of resources and services and nonprofits that really benefit me while I was growing up. And in turn, I really want to give back to ensuring that this resource is available for generations to come. So to be aware of how this resource has been extracted from the Sierra Nevadas and brought down to San Francisco, I want to ensure that as an agency, we're being a good neighbor to all the communities that were impacted, because this is just such a precious resource that that we're extracting, that we're providing to the public as a public good. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, and I'm glad to be in a position where we can ensure that we are responsible to all the communities that we impact.
What is a way you feel people can save water outside of taking shorter showers and maybe turning the faucet off while brushing your teeth?
That is a great question. I think the best way that people can actually think about how to conserve water and how our water is managed is actually to get involved with water policy. And a lot of what people think about of how we are involved in our own democracy is primarily in two ways, and thinking about how we are as a voter and how we influence elected officials. And I challenge people to think about how they can be involved in everyday democracy and how our water is being managed and planned for the future. And so there are different ways in which people can actually be involved in everyday democracy outside of being just a voter and an elected official. And that means being on citizen advisory committees, being on boards and commissions that actually create policy for the SFPUC or make recommendations on policy for the agency. And so my main role is to really ensure that regular citizens know how to plug into everyday democracy and know how to plug into the decision making that happens here at the PUC.
What inspired you to pick this career?
My inspiration for picking an environmental career is, I think, rooted in my culture. I think the first environmentalists were people of color. They were Native Americans, they're Chinese people, they're people who grew up in rural areas and are farmers and understand the cycles of the seasons. And so what really inspires me to understand how humans and nature interact is really at the root of, a lot of people of color cultures who really understand how the sun and the moon and the seasons influence human development. And that is at the crux of how humans interact with nature. And today, one of the biggest ways in which human development continues to interact with nature is through resource extraction and resource management. So I'm really blessed to have a career in resource management, basically, to be at an agency that is managing our water resources as well as our wastewater resources here in the city. You know, after we flush our toilets and all the water runs down our sinks and bathtubs into the sewer system, that is still a resource that we need to manage to ensure that we're maximizing the nutrients in our resource, in our sewage resource, so that whatever we put back into the environment has the least impact. And so this career in the water, sewer, and power company at the PUC really is at the crux and that juxtaposition of how humans interact with the environment.
What kind of requirements does it take to get a career like this, and what did you major in?
My major in college was environmental studies. And so while I was really excited about the science and the hard sciences side of environmental studies, I wasn't always the best, chemistry student or the best physics student. And so I found the social science aspect of environmental studies. Basically how does race, gender, and class intersect with the environment? And when I discovered the social science side of environmental studies, I realized there's a huge role for people to go into careers that translate science into everyday language for people to understand. And so I'm really glad that I'm able to be in this bridge building role in which I can work with scientists and engineers and architects as well as everyday people and build that bridge so that people know enough to be able to understand and make decisions about how their local government should be functioning for them. The critical skills it takes to be in a position like mine are critical thinking, communication, and writing. I think those are the top 3 skills that can get anyone into any career, because a lot of the specific knowledge or hard skills that I need in this position can be learned on the job or learned on my own. But it's those really, critical thinking, communication, and writing skills that I built up, especially during college, and was able to practice and refine and will be using for the rest of my career. And if we think about the kinds of skills that will not be automated, but and be transferred to robots and computers in the future, it's really the critical thinking, communication, and writing skills that won't be replaced by some robot.
What is the most lit part about your job?
The best part of my job is being able to interact with a diverse set of people in a wide geographic range, from Yosemite in the Sierras all the way to San Francisco. So I get to interact with the hyper-urban communities like Bayview, where 80% of our city's sewage is treated, to the 6 other counties that our water infrastructure crosses, in the East Bay, the South Bay, the Central Valley, and up to the lower Sierras. The ecosystem, the communities, the infrastructure is really diverse across the 7 counties. And so it's really interesting to understand how each of those communities are being impacted by our infrastructure, and in turn what those needs are in those communities, so that we can make sure that we're partnering with local partners in a way that actually addresses real community needs.
What opportunities are there for youth interested in this career?
For youth who are interested in the SFPUC, there are a wide range of opportunities. A majority of what people think of when they think of the PUC are the engineers and designers who work here, but there are so many supporting roles in order to ensure that our infrastructure gets built on time and gets built in a community-friendly way. And so those supporting opportunities for young people to get into careers are communications, in policy and governmental affairs, in community benefits, and the contract analysts to ensure that the contracts are in place and our infrastructure gets built. And so there's a lot of opportunities, across the board to get involved in the water, power, and sewer utility industry. And I would encourage for young people to identify what they're most interested in and identify a need that there is in local government, and find an intersection of what they're interested in and what the community need is, so that they really define those opportunities for themselves.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.